Well, the fallout continues from the decision in the Obama health care law yesterday. A decision that some of us regarded as somewhat mysterious. We've been sorting through the tea leaves, trying to come to grips with exactly what was behind Chief Justice Roberts' seemingly late decision to join the four liberal justices. Here with me is Dorothy Rabinowitz and James Freeman of the Journal editorial page. Good to see you guys.
Hey, Dan.
Dorothy, you've had at least a day to think about this. How would you account for Justice Roberts finding his way to this resolution?
Many simmering thoughts have boiled around in the cauldron, and let me ask you first, Dan, stop me if I rattle on too much, because there's all too much momentum in these thoughts.
There's a lot to say.
There's a lot to say, but it struck a lot of people, it's beginning to strike them, that the justice made a last-minute decision under stress, under fear, with a will, and to make himself an acceptable Chief Justice in the eyes of the progressive left, which had hounded him, et cetera, et cetera. It was a political move, many people think, and it could have been otherwise very easily, except for that last-minute default. We have no proof of this. But the other thing that strikes me is...
Well, we do have some evidence in the decisions
yes,
themselves.
I mean,
there's especially the odd Justice Ginsburg concurrence in which she denounces Justice Roberts, and rather acerically and with the vitriol that suggested she had originally written it as a dissent.
Yes, he hadn't counted on that kind of thing, you know, to be out there. This is called evidence in courtrooms, not in the Supreme Court maybe, but so that's going to be chewed on for a long time. I think less perhaps incendiary as thought, but even so amazing, is the number of high-minded neoconservative and conservative friends who have rushed into print with exculpations of this decision as perhaps the greatest service to the Supreme Court and to the polity and to American justice, forgetting entirely that we are speaking of a bill which will have monumental, limitless consequences to the American people, which has been justly, rated unconstitutional, and this passes all of them by. Somehow it is important to rescue the justice.
James, how does it strike you a day later?
Yeah, I'm also just amazed at the number of so-called conservatives who are saying, well, this is kind of a glasses half full story. It's a disaster. And you were very kind to call it a mysterious decision. Inexplicable, I guess. Terrible, horrendous, unconstitutional. Those would be other words. It's a family show, so I don't want to use what language I think a lot of constitutional scholars would be thinking about this right now, but to many people looking at this, the damage that the Chief Justice has done by exploding this definition of tax and exploding the federal authority to tax is beyond anything you might have hoped for in terms of limiting the Commerce Clause. And by the way, there's no federal activity that's been invalidated by his comments on the Commerce Clause. This is simply a statement that you would hope future justices would follow. But I don't know how this is a tax. The case law is very specific. The dissenting justices talked about the differences between penalties and taxes. If it's a direct tax, it's not apportioned among the states in proportion to population as the Constitution demands. It can't really qualify as an indirect tax because there's no activity happening here.
I want to ask you one more quick thing, though, James. The justice at its best was trying to protect the integrity of the court. Do you think he came close to accomplishing that?
This is the worst thing you could do to protect the respect for the court as an institution. It appears to be someone caving at the last minute to political pressure and writing kind of a seat-of-the-pants opinion. It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And really a point of view that no one else other than Mr. Roberts seems willing to defend.
Dorothy, we have got about 30 seconds left. Do you think that Justice Roberts has damaged his reputation as Chief Justice with this decision?
On the left, no. But in the world of the rational world that has looked upon this decision, this improbable decision, I think he will always be suspect. I think he will always be facing the question that you have made this choice. the integrity of the court that I run is narcissistically more important for me to uphold than the question of constitutionality of this bill and the interests of the American people, which this court is supposed to serve, and the justice that he is supposed to serve. To have picked a symbol rather than a fact,
Yeah.
the symbolism of my court,